Is it worth driving an hour out of your way to see a mill? Well, in today's video, we'll explore Mingus Mills and give you a reason to take that drive. Welcome to Bear Facts, where we explore the Smoky Mountains one bear fact at a time. There are many wonderful things to do when in the Smokies. Sometimes you hear about a place and think, is it worth the drive? Should we bother? Or are there more interesting things to do? Today's video will look at a sideshow attraction that, though, unless you're a huge history buff, in the Smoky Mountains, might not be considered worth the really long drive. The place we're talking about is Mingus Mills. But before you cross them off your list of things to do, let's learn a little more about it and maybe give you a few more reasons to bother with the hour drive from Gatlinburg to see this small little bit of the Smoky Mountain history. Mingus Mills is located in the North Carolina side of the Smoky Mountain National Park, about 4 miles north of Cherokee and just over half a mile from the Oconaluftee Visitor Center. It's about 30 miles from Gatlinburg and 40 miles from Pigeon Forge. Not a short distance for sure. Mingus Mills is actually on the Newfound Gap, which is a well-maintained road, but also a very, very slow, windy road. On the highway, 30 miles is less than 25 minutes. In the Smokies, well, let's just times that number by 2 or even 3, and now you have your new ETA. In other words, Mingus Mills is a long drive. But the mill is a very popular destination, and there are a few good reasons for that. So let's explore this small part of the park and learn more about its history. As I've already said, Mingus is in the national park and has its own parking lot. Because it's in the national park, you will need a car pass if you plan on hiking or spending more than 15 minutes here. The good thing is that it's a short walk from the parking area to the mill, making it an easy, accessible place for visitors, and it's a very low impact walk. So it's great if you need an easy day or just don't like a lot of walking. I took the time to shoot a little footage from the parking lot to the mill. There is a public restroom right there when you park, and the path is just to the side of the bathroom. It's very well maintained, and only a few low steps are included. There's a short bridge you walk over, and just past the bridge you'll see the mill up ahead. Some people also go to Mingus Mills because there is a trail you can take that's a little longer. I've never actually hiked it, but I've heard it's a moderate level trail and nice hike. The mill was built in 1886 by Scion Thomas Early for Dr. John Mingus. The mill cost $600, what a good deal that was, and was constructed primarily from wood sourced locally during the brief logging boom. The mill used a steel turbine instead of the traditional wooden water wheel, which was way more efficient and helped the mill serve over 200 families in the region. Interesting fact, Mingus Mill was one of the first mills in the region to actually use the steel turbine instead of a wooden wheel, making it more efficient. They were way ahead of their times there. Mingus Mill operated as a grist mill, using the water from Mingus Creek to power its turbines. The water flowed through a flume into a penstock, turning the turbine, which then drove the grindstone to produce flour and cornmeal. The flume, though in some disrepair, is still standing almost 140 years later. It's a testimony to the ingenuity and durability of things made in the day. Considering the mill is constantly exposed to running water and extreme temperature changes that happens in the Smokies, that says something, doesn't it? The mill remained a community hub until it ceased operations in the early 1940s due to the decline in local demand and changes in agricultural practices, which was strongly impacted by the federal government's push to move people from the lands as they developed a park. Even though the government started buying up lands in the 1930s, many people were still able to live and reside in the park until the mid-1990s. But the push was strong and smaller communities moved out, and places like the grist mill just weren't needed anymore. As I pointed out already, Mingus was a vital part of the community, serving as a place where local families not only had their grain milled, but also socialized and bartered goods. Saturdays were particularly busy as people gathered to trade and catch up on news. The mills served towns and communities within a 15-mile radius, making it a central hub for commerce and social interaction. Though the mill workers didn't do this for fun, the mill charged about 1/8 of the grain brought in, which the miller used as compensation for their services. Eventually, the mill was sold to the government and is now part of the National Park Services and under their care. Though the mill was still operational when it was sold, it still needed upkeep and at times repair. One of the first repairs done to the mill was in 1937 and again in the 1960s. If you end up at the mill in the late spring and early fall, you might even get a chance to see it in operation, though we haven't had that chance ourselves. Visitors to Mingus Mill can explore the mill, see the water-powered mechanisms in action, and learn about its history through demonstrations provided by knowledgeable caretakers. Though I haven't seen it myself, they advertise that the mill is also offering cornmeal and other local products for purchase. I have been there when the park official was there to talk about the mill. I just never personally see the inside or witness it in operation. I think it's really cool that it still works though. Now, as fascinating as this mill might seem, the thing is it's a very long drive just to see an old building. But here's where I tell you ways to make it worth your time. First, the drive alone is amazing. It's very scenic and you'll get to see more of the Smoky Mountains. The newfound Gap Road can be very windy and is a bit more narrow than 441, but you get to drive a long distance along various waterways. In the fall, the views are breathtaking. Second, you can visit the Gatlinburg Visitor Center. The Gatlinburg Visitor Center has more historic buildings and walking trails that visitors can tour. It's set up like a small homestead with barns, smokehouse, and even an old forge. There are inside bathrooms, and the visitor center also has a small indoor museum with more facts and information about the area. You can also pick up a park pass here as well. Though the main reason people seem to make the trip here isn't just the buildings and trails, but rather the elk. The park has been making a concerted effort to repopulate the native elk population to the Smoky Mountains, and they've had good success in this area. Most early mornings and later in the evenings, you have a really good chance of seeing elk walking around. And it's very common to see the elk grazing along the roads between Mingus Mills and the Gatlinburg Visitor Center. It's a great opportunity to see wildlife, and yes, they are wild, so no selfies or petting. Also, if you drive a little further down the road, there's also the Cherokee Nation, which is part of the Cherokee Reservation. You can browse small shops, learn about the local population, visit their museum, or take a short dip in the slower moving waters in the area. Further down is also Bryson City, which has other great things to do and see. For those interested in hiking, the Mingus Creek Trail begins at the parking lot and offers a moderately challenging hike with beautiful scenery. There are several cemeteries nearby, including the Mingus Floyd Cemetery and a slave cemetery, reflecting the area's rich and complex history. So there it is. You can make a full day trip out of visit to Mingus Mills and feel that the drive was worth it. We have done that itinerary a few times, and though we don't make it a priority to go to the mill often, it's still a nice day trip. We have noticed also that this side of the Smokies is a little more quiet, and it's a great break from the craziness of Pigeon Forge. At the time of this film's production and release, we are a non-profit channel, which allows us to share our information about the Smoky Mountain National Parks. I hope this video helps you plan your visit to the Smokies. You're getting an honest review from our personal experiences, but facts and things change. So please keep us in the loop if you learn anything new and want to share your experiences in the comments. Thanks again for visiting us at Bear Facts, the Smoky Mountains. Please click that like button and subscribe to our channel.